The year is 1920. The streets are full of live jazz and the city is booming due to the recent rise of the auto industry. Detroit, Michigan was chosen as the first trial run of the Prohibition program, which was a law that banned the sale and consumption of alcohol in the United States. Detroit was thriving, but in the Lower East Side of the city, danger was nearing. Years before this, a group of troubled Jewish kids were placed on the second floor of the Bishop School meant for problem children. They became known delinquents in the neighborhood of Little Jerusalem. Abe Raymond, Joe Raymond, and Izzy Bernstein started off by committing smaller crimes such as pickpocketing and extortion. But as they grew older and left school, they began to up their game. They formed alliances and eventually merged with the Sugar House Gang of Detroit, mostly made up by older and experienced gangsters who had taught them the ways of being a true gang member. They eventually began to lead the group, and by 1920, the Purple Gang was born. Dun dun. I don't know.
But you may be asking yourself, why is the Purple Gang named the Purple Gang? There are a lot of theories, such as the one that states a Detroit butcher compared the gang to spoiled meat, saying, "They're not like other children, they're rotten. Purple, like the kind of meat you'd throw away." Another theory is derived from the Cleaners and Dyers War, where they supposedly put purple dyes in the cleaners, ruining their clothes and sheets. The real reason they were called the Purple Gang is unknown, but it is known that the name was given from influence of the media and was simply slang or a code name that was used by law enforcement and journalists. As they were rising to power, they started off committing theft and extortion as loose, independent criminals. But as they grew and more members joined, they began to become well known for armed robbery, hijacking, alcohol smuggling, and holding people for ransom, and even murder. The Purple Gang were known for their extremely brutal tactics, sometimes killing people just for fun or just because they felt like it. By the 1920s, they completely ruled Detroit's underworld.
The Purple Gang grew bigger and accomplished new things that no other gang had done before. Some of their biggest feats included working with Al Capone, the notorious Chicago gangster who chose the Purple Gang to help him smuggle alcohol from Canada during the Prohibition period. In addition, Purple Gang members were used as spotters during the Chicago Street Valentine's Day Massacre. Purple Gang members were hired to protect a shipment of alcohol being smuggled by Abe Bernstein.
It's Abe Bernstein.
And Al Capone. While protecting the shipment, 7 people were shot and killed. However, the Purple Gang's most infamous schemes was their involvement in the Cleaners and Dyers War, a dispute between the cleaning industry and its union members. Membership to the union was influenced by the gang, and they used violent and brutal methods to persuade people to join. They hired themselves out as hitmen in order to protect union members and harass non-union members in order to make profit off of the Cleaners and Dyers War. In 1928, 13 members were tried for extortion and their role in the Cleaners and Dyers War, but none of them were found guilty. Around this time, the Purple Gang was at its peak. The gang was almost immune to law enforcement. However, this immunity wouldn't last forever.
In the 1930s, the gang began to collapse due to inter-gang strife and warfare. The gangsters began to kill each other. At first, they murdered 3 of their own men. This wasn't the end though. These killings began to multiply as gang members began to lose trust in each other and double-cross each other. Eventually, 3 gang members who had recently murdered other gang members were caught by the police and were forced to confess, and they were sent to jail for life. After this, the gang rapidly collapsed, putting an end to the largest and most infamous gang in Detroit's history.